There we go. And welcome back, of course, to ECE 115. That's numbers wrong. 113. Creative art, movement, and expression. Oh, and there's Lauren, too. Oh, my goodness. We do have a full house. Fantastic. 8 out of 10, guys. That doesn't happen very often. Wonderful. I wanted to bring up a couple things before we get started. In fact, before we even go to my announcements page. One thing that I did today in Tulsa is I got to do a site evaluation. Oh, I'm going to tell you about Chicky in a minute too, Sarah. I got to go to Cap Tulsa, the Disney Center, which is kind of over by Garnett. And I got to do a site evaluation. This was my first time to get to go to a Cap Tulsa site. And I have to tell you guys, I was so impressed. The Disney facility is really amazing. I love the way they have their classrooms set up. It was very neat, very organized. It looked like they had at least 2 teachers in each room. A kitchen for every 2 classrooms, and fantastic playground area, nice wide halls. It was sort of like everything I've ever wanted in a preschool or daycare, and it's really great. So if you ever get a chance to go to a Cap Tulsa facility, please do. It's really amazing. Second, bringing up Chicky. Autumn will be here next Wednesday because we're going to bring her in every time we have our week 3 live lecture. And you're going to be so impressed because she has grown. Oh, she's kind of going through her funky teenage chicken phase. And she's starting to lose her baby feathers, but gain her adult feathers at the same time. So you'll get to see her. It's been a long month, I know, since you saw her last time. But she is very sweet and very loving. So Autumn will be here next live lecture next Tuesday, so don't miss it if you want to see her. That's my big announcement. Okay, next thing. Announcements for the class. We're here at week 2. I want to emphasize on your assignments, guys. Be sure to read directions carefully. If it is a short response question, you need to have around 3 to 5 sentences to get your maximum points. Be sure to put the answers into your own words. And also on the Pinterest assignment, there's no need to submit anything for the Pinterest assignment on my course connection. So whenever I put up that we have a Pinterest assignment, all you need to do is do it on Pinterest, and then I will go there to grade it. So some of you have been putting up screenshots or links, and I wanted to tell you you don't even have to worry about that. Yeah. So usually what I try to do is on Monday morning is when I hit our Pinterest board and I go in and see all the great creative things that you guys have found. So that's what's going on in week 2. I wanted to bring up, since we didn't talk about this last time, I wanted to talk about our final project. Has anybody looked forward into the course and read up on the final project yet? No, not there yet. Well, good. That's the reason we do this. I want you to have kind of a heads up so that you know what's going to be happening and maybe know something that you can start working on too. Some of you like to work ahead, and some of you guys work best with that last minute rush, and I understand that too. So for those of you that are wanting to work ahead, you're welcome to hop forward in any week, see what we're going to be doing. You can even do your initial discussion boards first if you want to. I've seen a few people that have worked forward on the Pinterest assignments, and I love that too. Wonderful. So our final project, what we're going to be doing are activity cards. And Sarah, look at, you'll have stuff to do. That's awesome. On our activity card files, you would do them in a container similar to what we used to keep recipe cards in. And you had a certain way to write about the activity on each card. So we're going to be building activity cards, except we're going to be using PowerPoint or Google Slides to do that in. So those are your choices there. And what you'll need is you'll have one activity card on each slide. So you should have a total of 25. And these should all be activities. We're going to go into more specifics each week, but these should all be activities that can be done with certain age groups in a big group. So these aren't necessarily the individual activity cards that you might have for a student maybe in grade school who's finished their work and they need something else to do. This is a group project that you would do together. So group projects 25. These activities should either be done previously by you or by someone you know. So that's what we want to have are proven activities on art, movement, or expression, anything creative. And the reason why we want proven activities is, well, you know how sometimes you go on the internet and you find a recipe or an activity and you do it and it does not work? We want to wean those out. We want to get rid of those unproven activities. So try to stick to ones that either you've done, maybe a fellow teacher has done, or an activity that you can actually do at home so that you can prove it as well, because we want it to be a good, solid activity. An example is sometimes recipes on the internet, sometimes the recipes are wrong. So you can get the same thing with children's activities as well. Here's an example of a final project activity card. This is one PowerPoint slide that I just screenshotted. And what in the example, you notice a few things. Let me get my pointer out so I can show them to you. First of all, right here we've got a number. So I want you to number each of your activities. This one's number 1. You're also going to say if it's inside or outside, and what grade level it'll work with. And sometimes your activities will work with all grade levels. So you're going to number each of them. You're going to say if it's inside, outside, and what level. You're going to give it a name, so it needs to have a title. You're going to list 4 objectives of each activity. Oh, great, Lauren. Okay, so you do them at kinder care. Good, good, wonderful. So you're pretty familiar with these probably, and you'll have a great resource for them too. That's great. So you're going to have 4 different objectives, so you'll have to kind of think about the activity and what they might be learning, right? Yes, you're definitely allowed to use some of the Pinterest ideas. Exactly. Another reason it's a great resource. However, like you might have the basic directions, you might have the basic recipe, maybe you're making Play-Doh as an example, but you need to come up with objectives of what you're going to learn through that. So here they're going to be making animal math to appreciate art of other cultures. You may have to get a little creative here, right? Of African or Eskimo cultures math, to use beautiful junk to create a piece of art, to gain gross motor skills through cutting, gluing, manipulating, to create a piece of visual art to be used in a dramatic art activity. So just think about the activity. Then you're going to list all the materials that you'll need. You'll notice those here and here. You're going to list how long it's going to take to do these activities. Can it be strictly on other cultures? It could be. I could see you doing a more focused activity card set that is just multiculturalism. That could be a really great thing. In fact, Sarah, yeah. So how long will it take to do the activity? And here it's going to split pushed together, but you also need to put the source. And the source might be, you can actually use your book as a source. So like I said, I believe it's limited to 10 activities from our book. The other 15 need to come from other sources such as the internet or maybe another teacher. So we just be sure to put where it's from. If you came up with it on your own, you are the source. And I've had students do that before that have created their own activities. That's great. So on our course page in week 4, under the final project area, you will see this example I just gave to you. You'll also see a breakdown of specifically what needs to be in the activity card file. And you'll also see a template. And I brought up the template right here. It didn't turn out really great on this PowerPoint slide because of the purple at the top. But you'll notice we have a spot for the number, inside, outside, age, title, objectives, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you will just use this template over and over on your 25 PowerPoint slides, you'll be good to go. You'll have all the resources, all the things that you need. Objectives, the materials that you need, the length of time it's going to take, and then your sources down here at the bottom. Okay? So you guys have this template on our course page. And if you wanted to start working on it and maybe doing 5 or 10 a week, you could actually knock that out pretty quick. Next thing. Oh yeah, here's a little more specific information. Now this is on our course page. Like I said, you don't need to copy all this down, but you'll see the directions, complete 25 cards. The activities can be original or found. Here's where it says that little blurb, no more than 10 activities can come from your textbook. The top of each card should contain the following information, and those are all the things that we just went over on that template. All of those are listed on there. Each activity should include an overview of the activity. So if someone else was wanting to do this activity, they should be able to do it using the directions that you put on that PowerPoint slide. You must also include an assessment of the activity. Okay, here's where we break it down into the groups. You are going to have outdoor activities, at least 10 of them, right? And you're going to have 3 infant and toddler activities, 4 preschool activities, and 3 primary activities, all in that outdoor group. So the whole idea is that you have a variety that's going to cover many different age groups as well. So you're not just focusing on 2s or 3s or 4s. You're going to have different activities for different levels. Next, you've got indoor activities, a total of 15, because we tend to do more activities inside anyway, right? Now, keep in mind, these all don't have to be arts and crafts activities. These could also be movement. It could be some type of play. It could be some form of exercise that you're using. So, indoor or outdoor. On indoor, you're going to have 4 infant and toddler, 7 preschool, and 4 primary. Now, what I'd like for you to do is if you will put these on your PowerPoint slide in this order, it will be even more fantastic because you'll have your outdoor activities grouped together, your indoor, and then C. All of the following artistic categories should be presented within your card set. So you're not just keeping in mind indoor, outdoor. You're also being sure that you include things that are creative movement, sensory or play, drama, literature. So you're going to have some book activities, art, and don't forget music. So you can probably see just by looking at this, I know this has to be tiny for some indoor, outdoor, different age groups, and that you have all the requirements on each one. And I know it seems a little confusing at first, but take your time, label your PowerPoint page as well, and it should actually fall right together for you. And if you have any questions, call me, email me, okay? So we'll go over this again next week. You know how I am. I know that you can get things, and so do I. So we'll talk about it again next week as well. But I wanted to give you a heads up. Okay, Chapter 9 is what we're going to cover tonight as far as our chapter material goes. We got, let me see, Ms. Lauren, are you back again? Is it taking you on and off tonight? Or is the internet being iffy for you? Can you hear okay? I'm not sure. Lauren might be having problems. Okay, Chapter 9, Creative Development through the curriculum. And this is out of our textbook. Oh, I wanted to bring this up real quick too. Several of you emailed me and asked about the multiple intelligences section that goes along with our discussion board. That isn't in our book, but if you look on the course page under week 2, under reading, there's a link to that. So you will be able to get that so that you can complete whatever discussion board you need that information. But this is Chapter 9 out of our, I believe it's the intro book. First of all, kids who participate in art develop lots of wonderful things. Problem solving, dexterity, spatial acuity, healthy risk taking within bounds because the teachers are setting the limits, focus, memory improvement, tolerance. And we see more and more art being cut out of public school. And I think in the next few years we're going to see those added back in because schools and states and educators are realizing how important they are, that this be a part of a child's day every day if possible. You see it a lot in the preschool and a lot in the daycare, but I'd also like to see a little more art in our grade school children. We talk a little bit in our book, and you guys have probably had classes in the past too, where you talk about the idea that people have multiple intelligences, that we don't all learn the same, that we're not all drawn to the same thing. And I really like Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence because he has so many listed that really gives us a much larger variety of what we've even ever determined before. It used to be that we're like 4 intelligences, what we thought. So he breaks it down into linguistic, which is speaking, logical and mathematical, which is not me, musical, bodily, aesthetic. And I know I've told this story before in another class, but multiple intelligences goes along with the idea that we all learn in different ways. So there was this young man that was having problems learning the alphabet. They had tried getting him to trace the letters and to look at the letters and copy them, all the traditional methods, listening to the alphabet, all the different things, but it just wasn't sticking. And so this bodily kinesthetic intelligence is what it came down to. They put him in a swimming pool. He was a good swimmer. And they had him swim the alphabet. And after he swam the alphabet, using his body going through the water, he was able to memorize the alphabet. And I think that's just a really amazing example where they were about ready to give up and they just couldn't learn it. And they thought of this creative idea. So bodily, also visual, spatial, interpersonal versus interpersonal, introverted, extroverted, naturalistic, spiritual intelligence, existential intelligence, and worksheet isn't going to reach everyone. So, a little bit about learning to draw. Let's focus on that for a minute since we are in art class. How many of you would consider yourself to be artists or good drawers? Can you sketch a picture pretty good? Not me. Me either, Stephanie. I can draw like one thing. No? No, do we have anybody that's artistic? Lauren? Maria, come on. Maybe you're a painter. No? Katrina? No. No. Oh, Miso just no. Pottery. Exactly. You know, a lot of times we'll have one thing that will really do that. But I see very few people, more and more, that are able to draw well or paint well. Have any of you gone to the little, the thing where they teach you how to paint a painting? There's, gosh, there was one in Denver. What was it called? It was like they served wine and everybody got were shown how to draw specific painting. I think there's one like that in Tulsa as well. But it's not that everyone has to be artistic. You have to know how to follow the directions, right, to make it well. So anyway, yeah, I'm good as a scribbler. So if we look at the stages of drawing, I'm going to show you some pictures here in a minute. Random scribbling starts at about 15 months to 2.5 years. So it's a pretty big span there, actually, where they're just randomly drawing with whatever they can get their hands on. Maybe it's a crayon, maybe it's a Sharpie on the wall. Oh, you have daughters that are good. Well, good. Good drawers. I wish I was. I do. Stage 2 is controlled scribbling, and you've probably seen this in 2- and 3-year-olds, where they can hold the crayon a little bit better. That's where your stepdaughter is right now. Oh, great. Oh, your cousin can get to do tattoos. Yeah, he has to be really good. Definitely not a scribbler if you're doing tattoos, permanent artwork. Controlled scribbling, 2 to 3 years old. Lines and patterns start to sneak in about 2.5 to 3.5 years old. So this is where you really start to understand a little more about what they're drawing. You can kind of tell what some of it is. Your daughter's 18 months and tries to draw photos you see when she scribbles. To draw photos, that's a pretty big thing to do. They just wind up being scribbled. That's great, though, to try to draw someone's picture. I know a young lady that can draw photo quality pictures. It's so amazing. She's in high school right now, and it's so amazing that sometimes her mom will put pictures up on Facebook, and it's really hard to tell if it's a drawing or it's a picture, and I really can't imagine being able to do that. It's beautiful. Stage 4 is pictures of objects or people about 3 years to 5 years, and then letter and word practice at about 3 to 5 years. Now, here's a few examples. Pre-drawing. So these are scribbles. You can't really tell what they are, but they are practicing. They are using fine motor skills and gross motor skills. When you think of the way they hold the crayon at this age, it's more like in a fist. So you are getting gross motor, and eventually you might get some fingers in there as well to get some fine motor. So pre-drawing or scribbles. Next, eggs with legs. Have you guys seen this before? They usually start with a circle for the whole human body. Eggs with legs, and sometimes you might actually have the right number of arms and legs, but sometimes you have a few extra, or you don't have enough. So this square body. And off that square body, we have arms and legs. And you'll see this young person has little square arms and then little stick fingers. And they have stick finger legs. But they've also written in words saying hello, hello, hello. And if you were trying to guess the age of the person drawing this, about how old do you think this child would be? What do you think? 4 or 5? I've got my computer taken to a slide and put in. There we go. I think I have power now. That was exactly my guess as well. I thought 4, maybe an advanced 4 or a 5. Where you kids go to school, you have to be able to draw a person. Oh wow, that's interesting. Is that to get into like pre-K or kindergarten with legs, hands, in order to get in kindergarten? That's interesting. I've never heard of that before. And have a face too. You know, it's a pretty big developmental milestone. And I never thought of that before, but maybe that does tell you a lot about if the kid is ready for kindergarten. So that's interesting. I'm going to have to read up on that a little bit. And then next we have, here's a more older child. You get more details. I don't know if you can see this okay. Does she read really well? Oh, that's great. That's great. They must be doing something right then. She read a whole book. Oh my goodness. Okay, in this picture, we've got some type of a net in the middle. We've got people with hairdos. Looks like most of the girls have ponytails. We've got a slide over here. I'm not sure about this. This is, I think, the road. You can see the lights down the road. This might be a tree over here. And this is definitely a swing set. This is son and mom. So we've got some family members in there. And you've got bikes over here. And the sky is is drawn on the side of the page. So this is a really good attempt to get sort of a panoramic picture then, to be able to see the bird's eye view as well as the sky and the bike. So how old do you think this child might be? I thought the other one was maybe 4 or 5, 6 or 7, 10. Any other guesses? 6. 6 is first grade. Yeah. I'm gonna go for, what were you guys thinking? Too much detail. Okay. Do you think 8 or 9? Well, my magic number I was gonna guess was actually 8. Yeah. I thought 8 too is about when they can really get into some of this detail. I've seen a lot of first and second grader drawings, and those are still fairly sparse on the details. I've seen a few second graders that would put quite a bit of design into theirs. So about, I'm going to say second or third grade, yeah, you should start to see these details. And they're really having to use their creativity to do that. And the idea behind free drawing, being able to use their pencil or pen on a piece of paper, is that they get to use all their imagination. And last week, I believe it was, that we talked about coloring books and how, coloring books can kind of exhibit creativity sometimes. I'm not saying coloring books are bad, because there's some wonderful ones out there, but you don't want that to be the sole source of art. You don't want them to always have to color what someone else has drawn, right? Oh, gotcha. To turn the paper, to draw it, yeah. So, also, I wanted to bring up because several of you mentioned that you like to color too, and I completely agree. I have, right now I have coloring books in my office that I need a new box of crayons. And they are little kids coloring books in case any of my students come in with kids and they need some help. The kids can do a little something. I also have activity books and things of that sort, and then books to read. Now, have any of you seen the adult coloring books that are out there? There are tons of them on Amazon now. Sarah, yes. There's some really amazing ones. So some of them are made, of course, for adults to color with crayons, but some have so much detail that it's really more for colored pencils would be a better thing to use there. They have some that look like stained glass. They can be expensive, Sarah, you got it. So it's a great de-stressing tool, though. If you've ever colored with your child, you know that it's really relaxing. And book manufacturers have discovered that too and come out with all these lines of coloring books for adults. I just love it. Oh, that's true too, Katrina. Yeah, adult coloring book apps. That's true. I forgot about that. See, I was going for the old school thing of really using crayons and pencils and stuff for markers. I guess you can use Sharpies too. You're an adult. You can do that now. Yes, you're right, Sarah. I've actually seen several for free. Yeah. Some of these coloring book manufacturers put free prints on Pinterest so that you can print off one page or sometimes 2 pages, and then they want to get you hooked on it so that you'll go ahead and buy their book. But there are some examples out there. Yeah, that's great. So when we talk about art, we're talking about 2-dimensional art, of course, drawing, painting, and I know a lot of early childhood centers kind of steer away from painting because it can be so messy, but they love it. So please try to make the time for painting and all the different types of paint that you can use. Printmaking as well. If you think about when they use the potatoes or styrofoam to cut shapes and then dunk it in the paint, you can do the printmaking. Also, we don't want to forget about 3-dimensional art, Play-Doh and clay, cutouts, doing collages for older children, and also woodworking, maybe for grade school. The Play-Doh is actually so important for fine motor skills, and it's a great thing for a child to practice with, especially maybe one that's having problems holding the pencil or the crayon correctly. Maybe they need to build those muscles a little bit more, and Play-Doh or clay is a great place to start. Also, a little bit about music. We want to have music in our child's day. Some of you may have music in your classroom all day long. I know some instructors or teachers have it in the background. Some teachers use it as a quieting down tool for nap time, maybe playing some classical music. Some use that to get the children woke up in the morning. Maybe you have some little dance party time. At our school, they loved putting on the recordings of Just Dance that are on YouTube, so that the kids, they would put them up on the smart board, the YouTube recordings, and then the kids would dance along with the music and the recording, and they absolutely loved it. And you don't have to get the whole PlayStation out to do it. You can just use YouTube and your smart board. Your kids love music, always have headphones and music on. Yes. Exactly. So music is important to child development. You're listening, you're seeing, you're talking about the musical instruments that are being used. There's movement and dance. And if you're lucky enough to have someone come in and play the guitar or play the tuba or play the lute, play something unusual with the drums, they will have an even more amazing experience. It's one thing just hearing it, it's another thing feeling the music and actually being there. Why do we teach music? Because music is science, It is math. Oh, your father-in-law is with the drums. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, and drums are great. That's a great stressor too. Music is also, it's like a foreign language because a lot of the terms are in Italian or German or French. Music is physical education, it's moving around, and most of all, music is art. And I don't know about your schools, but what I see starting at about pre-K at our little school is they get about 15 minutes of music education a day. Seriously, that's about where we're at. The kids spend about 15 minutes in music and about 15 minutes in PE. I would really like to see both of those numbers go up. Our children are sitting more and moving less, and of course we know how important it is. And music is moving, music is learning, and of course by I think it's about 3rd or 4th grade, then they get to get the recorders. Did you guys get to play those in preschool? Those awful little things, those recorders. And you have it once a week. See, I just think it should be offered more often. My children's older school, they had art once a week, and I didn't think that was very much for art either. So I hope we will see a change in that. Music is important. Just real quick, I think we're almost to the end, guys. Yeah, almost there. Think about aesthetic appreciation. Think about looking at art, looking at sculpture, looking at pictures on the internet, looking at photographs, aesthetic appreciation. How can this be accomplished in a classroom? You guys give me some ideas of how you can accomplish this in the classroom. Aesthetic appreciation. I know one thing that a lot of preschool teachers and daycare and early childhood teachers do. One of the biggest things. So teaching them, you're teaching them to appreciate art or parts of art. How can a teacher do that? Lauren has an idea. Uh-oh, what happened to Sarah? Are you there? Oh, okay, good. The little red box was coming up by your name. I thought you got somewhere. Lauren's giving us a big step. Oh, I'm sorry. But you guys aren't sure on this one. I'll give you my example, and I hope it's not the one that Lauren's typing in, because I can tell she's working on a thought right now. One of the biggest things that I see early childhood teachers do in the beginning of the year, they decorate their room, right? They choose a theme, they put up their educational material. Oh, of course for books, yeah. So based on the book, they try our hardest to add more and more to what we teach so that we can't be cookie cutter while still learning and everything else around them. Yeah. So you want them, you want to expand their world a little bit. So maybe within your classroom, you are putting up posters of maybe works of art that go along with your theme. Or maybe you're putting up how-to pictures on how to draw things step by step. And kids love those. You can laminate those sheets that will teach them step by step how to draw an elephant. So they're learning to appreciate the parts of the elephant as you go through. You have a book to teach by, so we ask the children what they want to learn about. So you want to spend time with it. You want to put those pictures up on the smart board. You want to take them on a field trip to the art museum. Take them on a field trip to the symphony if you have one in your area, if you're lucky enough. You want to bring a little bit of the world to them, and luckily we can do that now, especially through the internet. Oh, going outside in the leaves. Yes, exactly. And leaves are definitely art, right? Art of nature. And you're teaching them to appreciate the aesthetics of it. Look at the leaf. What color is it? What shape is it? Maybe then you go on to do an art activity like painting the leaf and doing a print onto a piece of paper. So there's lots of things you can do. And it's very important to spend creative time doing this. Exactly. Find something you're passionate about and keep tremendously interested in it. And I really like that this is Julia Child, who found later on in her life that she was extremely interested in cooking, and really isn't cooking art as well. You're creating, you're having to get creative with your ingredients, and this is what we want to do for our children through the process of showing them these different pieces of art, these sculptures, these different activities, these different hobbies. We are hopefully going to help them find the things that they are passionate about. And once we know that, we can pass that on to the parents. That's good information. So that then maybe they can find books to help enrich that or watch videos on the topic. And, you know, the things that they're passionate about when they're 3 and 4-year-olds is probably going to change when they're 6 and 7. And that's our job as well then as teachers, is we find out how it's changed and what we can do to help them along, to help enrich their lives. Like that, Julia Child. And I'm hungry, though, because I brought up the name Julia Child. All right, it's 9:20, guys. We went over the final project, some of the aspects of that. We went over a little bit of Chapter 9, a little bit about drawing. And do you guys have any questions for the week ahead? We've got a Pinterest assignment. What else do we have? There's 2 discussion boards. I believe you have a case study this next week. None here? Awesome. Awesome. And please know, especially those that are new, since you've attended the live lecture, you do not have to submit a summary now. So if you come to the live lecture, I write your name down and you'll get your points for it. So you don't have to watch the video or summarize this. You're done. All right, guys. If you're done and you don't have any questions, get on out of here. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week with Autumn. And some of you will get to meet Autumn for the first time. She's kind of like our little class mascot. Good night, Maria. Good job. I'm glad you got to come. Good night.